About 90 minutes ago, we learned Chip Kelly is leaving the Ohio State Buckeyes to join Pete Carroll's staff at the Las Vegas Raiders. Let's talk about what this means for Ohio State and what this means for Brian Hartline. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching the #1 college football show, welcome. Thank you for joining us here. We talk college football 24/7, 365, all around here. And I would love to know from you in the comments below, do you think that Chip Kelly was right to leave the Ohio State Buckeyes as he did? And if you are a returning viewer and you have not subscribed, I'm going to ask you to do that, like the video, and also answer the question below. For myself, I think that Chip Kelly was always planning to do something just like this. One of the reasons that I believe this is you don't step down from UCLA just to be an offensive coordinator at Ohio State. You don't necessarily step down as head coach at UCLA, period. But in the case of Chip Kelly, we saw a head coach who very much did not want to be a head coach anymore, did not want to deal with name, image, and likeness, did not really want to recruit, and certainly didn't want to deal with the UCLA alumni and brass that was asking him for better results. This is a man who beat USC, and that was the game that he needed to win to keep his job. I understand, like you might understand, why he might feel some kind of way about how that goes. Never mind that he had Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who was great at UCLA and decent in the NFL, or Dante Moore, who ends up transferring to Oregon. He wanted out, and his mentee, Ryan Day, said, hey, look, if you really want out, why don't you coordinate my offense, because I'm having a hard time here. And let's not forget this. Ryan Day was up against it. Ryan Day was up against being the wonderkin play caller who was promoted to head coach in large part because he is a wonderkin play caller and had a hard time giving up that job. But it turned out to win a national championship. That is exactly what he had to do. I don't think this is a coincidence. Ohio State has won 2 national championships since 2014. One came when Ryan Day only had to worry about the offense, and the other came when Ryan Day only had to worry about being head coach. I don't think those two things are unrelated. Add to this that Chip Kelly got to just call plays for an offense that was more or less put together by Ryan Day. And by offense, I mean the personnel. Will Howard, Quinshon Judkins, Travion Henderson, Emeka Egbuka, Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Brandon Ennis, and on down to Seth McLaughlin, to Josh Simmons, who went out but is going to probably be a first-round pick in the NFL draft, to Donovan Jackson, who moved from left guard to left tackle. My God, what a move that was. Was probably going to be a first-round pick in the NFL draft. These are guys that he relied on. These are guys that he had said, hey, I'm giving you the keys to a very fast car. This is like Lewis Hamilton jumping into a Red Bull. If you put Lewis Hamilton in a Red Bull next to Max Verstappen, he's going to whoop his ass. That's just how it's going to go. And that is what Chip Kelly was able to do. He was able to jump into the Red Bull and whoop everybody's ass. It wasn't his offense that was incapable of scoring points. As a matter of fact, they put up 31 on Oregon. They lost 32-31 because the defense couldn't stop nobody. But also, look at Will Howard, who threw for 300 yards in that game against Oregon in the regular season, and then threw for 3 more against them in the postseason. Look at Jeremiah Smith, for which finally you start feeding him the football. Maybe that's an oversight for Chip Kelly. And you start winning football games going away. Tennessee, Oregon. And then you look at Texas. They won that game in large part because Jeremiah Smith was such an apt decoy. You're able to get the ball to guys like Carnell Tate, who I believe had 7 catches in that game. And then you're able to go back to him in the Notre Dame game, and you go to him to seal the victory. Chip Kelly has gotten beyond the place where he wants to recruit players, where he wants to fundraise for name, image, and likeness, where he wants to control an NFL style of college football team. One that's got a general manager, one that's got salary that it's got to keep, and one that he has to oversee and wants to be a play caller, to a place where, hey, if they're going to just do that, why don't I just go to the NFL? Now, at the time, we were thinking about the Houston Texans because that was where the smoke was, but the fire ends up being at Las Vegas, where Pete Carroll has gotten back into the game of being an NFL head coach after taking some time off, frankly stepping down, I think, so he could find a job like this one and then go to the Las Vegas Raiders for what we know is Mark Davis's best opportunity to win a championship. What I'm curious about is what they're going to do at the quarterback position, because Chip Kelly is a dude who just had Will Howard. Will he go draft Will Howard? That was an open question. Maybe he thinks that there's something better out there. If they can trade up to go get Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward, maybe you do that. If not, maybe you go get Will Howard. Or maybe you like Aiden O'Connell. I doubt it, but let's not just dismiss the possibility. I know that you like Sincere McCormick because I've loved Sincere McCormick, and you can check the tapes on this one. I've been talking about Sincere McCormick since his sophomore year at UTSA. You've got parts over there. You got Brock Bowers over there. You got things that you know you can work with. It's a great situation for Chip Kelly. For Ryan Day, though, does this mean that you're going to promote Brian Hartline to offensive coordinator? I'm not quite sure. When it was talked about that Brian Hartline might be the guy calling plays before the 2024 season began, it was something that he was cool on. It was something that that Ryan Day was cool on. I think that Brian Hartline is the best wide receiver coach in football. I don't give a damn about high school or the NFL. That's the man. Maybe you just want to keep him in his position. Maybe give him the passing game coordinator position as one to get him a promotion, give him a little bit more of a raise. But Ryan Day might be forced back to calling plays in this one. Outside of that, who would you go get to help you if you are Ryan Day on the offensive side? Well, there's going to be no short list of suitors. If that's the way you want to go, then you're going to be allowed to pursue that possibility. But we should be prepared for Ryan Day to go back to calling the plays in 2025. Does that lead to Ohio State winning another national championship? Remains to be seen. But as I said, the only time that they've won it is when he's been the full-time offensive coordinator or the full-time head coach. One of those two things has to happen, I believe, for Ohio State to repeat as the national champions in 2025.